All right, guys, we got a little, probably a short video, quick update, just kind of showing what's going on. We got a couple videos that came out before this one. At this point of doing this video, I'm a little bit behind on editing, but please like and subscribe to this video. You can subscribe to the channel, you can turn off the notifications, check back in for more updates when you want to. That's what I do with some channels that I subscribe to. But hit the like button, and subscribe. That'd be great. So anyway, the last videos we were hauling gravel, filling in gravel for the tanks. And I got that done on Saturday. Today's Tuesday, January 13th. So Saturday, got the gravel hauled in, got the tanks. I started leveling the tanks on Saturday, and yesterday, Monday, the 12th, after school, I finished leveling the second tank. So turning around, we show you that, show you some of the gravel. Got a couple little things that we have to fix a little bit, but anyway, so got the gravel all in, and got the two tanks set. So the tanks are as close to being like side by side as one guy by himself can do. The first tank, which I've called the first tank be the far tank. They're not quite the same distance from the wall. They're like within, I don't know, like 2 inches of each other. And then being squared with the wall, they're pretty close. But one thing that I ran into is I put them up on 4x4s. And so then I wanted to make them so they lean forward a little bit. I watched a video, I mentioned it before, where Glenn Goodrich had his tank set, and they actually poured the concrete to make the tanks lean forward so that you can get them to drain better, makes them easier to clean, things like that. These tanks are supposed to be, they're supposed to be twins, but they're actually made a little bit different. They are the same height, and they are the same length, but they're made a little bit different. You can see how the front of this one, the fronts are actually more similar than the back, but it's kind of weird. But anyway, this one here is sitting a little bit higher than the other one, like a couple inches. So what I ran into, couldn't tell till I started messing with the tank, but this tank right here, the gravel, it's actually higher, and it was actually higher back underneath the tank as well. So this tank's actually higher than the other one. But, so like, why does that, it doesn't matter. Well, it doesn't really matter for me anymore because I had the tanks leaning forward. The overflows, if you're going to plumb them together, right now, the overflows are in the back. So I'm not sure if you lean them forward, which they're leaning forward I think it's a little over an inch. I was going to go 2 inches, but I'll show you why I didn't. So you can see the back. So back here, the back is actually, this one is 6.5 inches off the ground. So right here, the gravel back here in the back, it's all low. I didn't know that, but so the tanks were pulled back and this part was still under the tank. So I'm not worried about that because we're putting them on blocks anyway. The whole point of the 4x4s is to give just a little bit of room underneath the inlet pipe, or in this case, the outlet pipe, whatever you want to call it, drain valve. But the other one, you can see, is actually 2 4x4s and then a 1x, so it's about 8.5 inches. And you can see I raked it out, I kind of leveled it out a little bit because I had to do a lot of jacking on that, so I leveled it out so my jack's at level. So that one, the ground is actually considerably lower. And then if you look at the back of the tanks, this one over here on the left it's like 3 inches lower. But they both lean forward a little bit. So this tank here is the second one that I got. These tanks were bought, like 6 years apart from each other, 5 or 6 years apart from each other. And this one actually, I'm not sure if I said anything about it or not, but it's actually wrong. This is overflow hole right here has one on each corner. They were supposed to be on the side, like this one, and then you could plumb them together just right here, a connection side to side. Now, will it work? It will I think you could put a piece on here, an elbow, and you could probably make that work. Probably like elbow and then like a back, like you'd have to bring it back. But the problem with that is if I'm gonna put a catwalk in here in between them. So I want a catwalk so that I'll come up here, be like up here. So when I stand on the catwalk and I walk between the tanks, basically my hips are above it. And they're like, I think I have them about 19 inches apart from each other right now, something like that. So if you put the catwalk on, it'd be okay if the overflow was back here, I guess, because you'd walk back, but you wouldn't want to duck under the overflow all the time. So, but it's funny because if you look at them from here, it's like, man, they're not even close to being the same. But it's just that the ground up on this one is so much higher in the front. And I didn't know that until I was setting it or leveling it. And otherwise I probably would have fixed it. But it's not a huge deal. I don't think it's a huge deal. But with the overflow, so if they're leaning forward, it looks like it's probably about 2 inches. So I think that it would still overflow out the back. It's about this pipe right here is about 2 inches from the top. So if it was leaning forward, it would be, I think it would come out back here before it ran over the front. But normally I would not rely on the overflow. So the other idea would be to plumb them together and do that in the front and plumb them together and then have a valve or whatever and have it open and they would both fill equally. Now obviously that one over there is a little bit lower, so it would fill a little bit faster. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to run with it and find out. Because normal season, normal days, we would not overflow the tank by the time I got home from work. It would be like we've had days where it was close, but we've had, we've never had it get, that high. I've been here watching it and ran it up till it was within, half an inch of overflowing, but I've never had it get that far on its own before I get home at 4 o'clock. The other option is we have the shed. So in the shed over there, that's where the vacuum pump is, and there's a tank in there. So the releaser dumps into a tank, and then there's a pump in there with a float that pumps up and out into the tanks. And I have a Y in there, and we use the Y. There's a valve on each side of the Y, and we use the Y to control which tank the sap goes to. And so what I've done before is I didn't want to overflow the tank and didn't want to put just a little bit of sap in the other tank. So you'd go in there and just turn the pump off and let the sap build up in there a little bit. So that's an option. But for right now, I think that I'm just going to go with what I have. Now, if I run into problems, if I run into problems and I don't like something, then I will change it. Either, during the year. I can change it when the tanks are empty, or I can wait till after the year. And I think the option, the easiest option would be to raise this one up. It would be to put a level, put a bar or board up here on this one, and raise up the other one to match it. Raise this one up to match this one, and rather than try to dig out all the gravel, because I could just raise it up and I could just put some blocks under it. But I also put so I have to put blocks on the side still down under here. I'm not sure why where my foot is, I'm not sure why they made them that way, but there's the height of this is not the same as the I-beams. I'm not sure why they did that. So I think you're supposed to block those up separately. But I even cut shims and wedges and put in there on the I-beam so that I could level them so they wouldn't be leaning side to side. Both of them, before I started doing that, both of them had a little bit of rock to them. So that's what we have. That's a little update. The gravel's awesome. I did it on a good day because it's getting cold now. It is almost like concrete right now. Like, you can kick it up with your feet, but not very easily. So then the other thing that I did was I filled it all in where the skid steer is. Filled that all in, and then we got some water right here. You can see the track, the skid steer track. The water actually ran up under there a little bit. You can see where it ran up. The skid steer is actually frozen right in place yesterday right there. So with the skid steer, I cut a little ditch right here. And I actually drained this tank right here. So that's where the water came from. And actually filled it up. There's a low spot right there. So it built up right there and it came back instead of going. But you can see where it ran down. So now the only problem I have is it's running down pretty good. But obviously it runs down and it kind of goes towards the sugar house. So right here somewhere where it comes down, I need to get like a swale cut right that way. You can see it started to go that way yesterday, but some of it built up. You can see where it's going that way. That's what I wanted to do. But right here somewhere it built up, and then some of it went down towards the sugar house. It's not terrible, but it's not like, I don't want to have ice in front of the sugar house. I think tomorrow is going to be warmer. I might be able to just kind of take the bucket, come up here, back right up on here, or back blade it and just cut just a little bit right towards that tank over there. And then we're going to cover this with gravel. All I need to cover it with gravel is a warm enough day to scoop the gravel. And we'll just start right here by the sugar house, by the side-by-side, and we'll just coat it with gravel going out towards there. I think there's probably, looks like there's I probably have about 2 loads worth, because looks like there's about 1.5 loads out there, and then there's another small pile around the corner of the sugar house. So, I think, if I could go down through here and I could put gravel over top of all this ice right now, and it probably wouldn't, the ice probably wouldn't be a problem, But I just got to fix it right here a little bit. What I would like to do is right here where that's the hoe handle or rake handle. Right there is put a pipe drain right there, and then run a pipe all the way under across. But I can't do that like this year. I don't want to tear it up now. So we're gonna just kind of lightly coat it all with gravel, and then springtime or summertime when it gets warmer, we'll probably come in and we'll scrape all the gravel off, and we'll put the ditch in and fix it, and we're gonna dig this area out even more, and then we'll get the grade more down how we want it, and then we'll lay down landscape fabric and put the gravel down. But at least up here, you know, the water's not going in the building anymore. So I would prefer that it not be right in front of the sugar house like that, but we're going to deal with it. At least it's better to know it right now. I mean, it's January 13th. I'd rather know right now than I would, you know, during sap season. So hopefully tomorrow, it's supposed to be warmer today, but it didn't turn out that way. Hopefully tomorrow, I think it's supposed to be 42. So hopefully I'll have enough time after school that I can at least come in here, and I might try right now actually to break some of this ice up. But anyway, that is a real quick update for what we did so far. Our video turned out to be longer than I thought. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more from Triple D Farms, Triple D Maple, and Triple D Cabins. Have a great day.